It'd be so much easier if we just stole this money. What did you say?
I got my Boston hat on because my Boston guys are out here making movies, and I support
his Boston guys.
My Boston guys.
Yeah.
I've interviewed Ben Affleck.
This is for like a commercial campaign that we're doing.
Sure.
My wife has has a picture with Matt Damon.
I bet she
loves
does.
Matt Damon. Too much. I would say too much. My wife loves Matt Damon like I love Jennifer Love Hewitt. Neither are appropriate. We should change it.
Yeah. When I was younger, I'd have people tell me I look just like Ben Affleck all the time, and I think that's partially why my wife married me. She's very disappointed with how things have developed in the last 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
I don't get that comparison as much as I used to these days.
You're
But
both very handsome.
It's because he looks like shit.
Council Pop.
It's a council pop. It's The Rip. It's Ben Affleck. It's Matt Damon. It's Netflix. It is very Netflix. And
We're here to rip.
It's kind of sort of the movie of the moment as far as January straight to streaming films go. That is the moment these days.
Yeah. I feel like January is a streaming release like time frame.
Famously the garbage dump of film months where they just put in all the movies that you didn't want to put out towards the end of the previous year. You put them out in January and hope no one sees them.
No.
Or that your marketing can trick people into watching it. I don't know how that pertains to streaming now since that upended the traditional models, but let's talk about that after our 60 seconds on the clock. Hot takes. I'll go first because you went first last time. 60 seconds on the clock. No one's going to like this.
Here we go.
No one's going to like this because everybody likes this movie. I mean, the hot take, short soundbite. This movie sucks. This movie sucks. It's not a good movie. It's not like the most aggressively bad movie. It's not like one of those ones I get on here and be like, oh my God, this is such a nightmare. Can you believe it? But it is easily the most Netflix film I've ever seen. It is the zenith of data and algorithms and informing every decision. And I don't even think that me saying this movie sucks should even be that controversial because I think everyone involved with it kind of knows it sucks. And then they might not say it sucks, but Matt Damon is basically saying, yeah, it is what it is. Like, this is what we got to do if we're going to do a Netflix streamer. They know it's bad too. They know it's not good. So take it up with them. They're the ones who said it.
No, you're such a dick.
It's bad. It's bad.
All right.
We'll talk about why it's bad. We'll get into it.
Okay, we'll get into it.
Please.
Me?
60 seconds on the clock.
This movie's not good. Yes, that is the soundbite. But, hey, bring it back. This is gonna be like my gray man argument for those who've been through this. For today, for what it is, for what they're trying to accomplish, for what Netflix is trying to accomplish with this film, I think it is fine. Like, I think it is exactly what it needs to be for threading the needle that it's trying to do, if that makes sense. I don't think we should criticize this movie the way that we would criticize the Odyssey when that comes out. If we were to criticize the Odyssey, I'm not saying we will. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they're two different films trying to do two different things. Like, we don't criticize Anchorman for not being Shawshank Redemption, because it's not, and it's not trying to be. It's not trying to be a great film. It's trying to achieve other things. I want to have some perspective when we talk about this movie, because I think it does things decently with the limitations it has put on it. And I'd like to talk about embracing your limitations as a filmmaker and the good job that they're doing in doing that.
Oh God, I wish I had a little notepad of all the points of what you said that I want to respond to with rage and fury. Yes.
I love Ben Affleck. Shut up.
I also love Ben Affleck. No one loves Ben Affleck like I do.
You don't look like him, and you don't like
never
him.
have.
So shut up.
You piece of shit. Yeah. So it's just funny. We talk about like, you got to commend these people for working within their limitations of having 5 huge stars and the backing of the biggest studio going right now. They're working within their limitations, guys. Sure.
Because do you want to start there?
No,
Is that where
I
you
don't.
want to start?
I don't. I just want to respond to some of that bullshit. Yeah.
Because I'll talk about limitations.
You tell me what you think about the structure of this episode. I sort of think we could spend a little time talking about specifics of the film itself and not the big picture shit, because I could talk about the big picture shit, sort of what we're alluding to here, for 4 hours.
Like the Netflixification of it? Is that what you're sort of talking about?
The Netflix aspect of it all, and what the ramifications of that, and what this means, and filmmaking today,
and how that changes filmmaking.
and how
we can put that to the side, and you just want to talk about like the nuts and bolts of the actual film, like what we saw.
For the folks who might be tuning in to just be like, oh, what do they think about this movie? Maybe we just talk about this movie.
Sure.
To start.
I agree.
For 30 seconds until one of us just references like Netflix, and we're gonna lose we're gonna be on a tightrope the whole time here.
They're forced to repeat the plot. They're forced.
Yeah. People are watching it through their phones.
People are on their phones while they're watching, you know what I mean?
Oh, no.
And so then it's gonna...
The reasons I think this film is not good include A, I think the writing is awful. Awful. But why make that face? You don't think the writing?
Because it's my face. Leave my face out of this.
Well, no, all right.
I'm going back and forth in my head. When you say writing, what do you mean?
I mean,
be more specific.
I mean, specifically what I was talking about is the dialogue to start. Just as basic and rudimentary and as like AI wrote this as I've seen. I no exaggeration. Like 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, I could turn this off. And I was like, no, I don't want to be that guy. But I could turn it off because the scenes at the beginning where Affleck's sort of they're cutting back and forth between the sort of like interrogations or conversations that Affleck and Damon are having with various law enforcement folks. And then when Affleck and Damon end up sitting on the bathroom counter together, and Matt Damon says something like, lately I've been thinking about time and how so much of it's gone by and what else is going to happen. And it just got me thinking. I guess that's how time works. Like, that's literally, that is almost verbatim. Like, that's awful. That's awful. And really the whole film is like that. Like, hey, what are you doing? Just being a cop. Yeah. Pass the beer. Yeah, these crooks. Like, it's very bad. Keith, defend it.
I'm not defending, I'm defending it against Fast and the Furious. Like, I'm defending it against the films of like anything The Rock has been in other than The Smashing Machine. Like,
You think the script here is not on that level? You think it's better than those kinds of movies?
I think this, if I am going to try and defend it, because nothing about this film, if you want to talk about the film itself, like nothing about this film like sings. Nothing about this film is like, oh shit, this is great. All the performances are fine, like fine to not great. The story is not great. The writing is not great. Like, it's all like average to below average. Yes, I'm not here to defend it, but this is a tropey action thriller movie. Like, this is, I don't want to say like buddy cop, but it has that sort of energy. It's got Lethal Weapon vibes. You think Lethal Weapon is that well written?
I mean, compared to this, yes,
like,
yes.
I haven't seen Lethal Weapon in a long time, but I don't remember it being like, that is amazing dialogue. I'm getting too old for this shit. Like, that's
because it originated that. And it's an iconic line. What are you going to be saying 40 years from now from this?
No, I'm just saying. I think I don't think that to have impact. This is gonna. I know what you're going to say, but I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's what they're trying to do. And you're gonna say like, but it should be good. Everything should be the greatest thing ever. Like, but that's not
what I would say.
That's 100%. But that's not the world that we're playing in for this film. Like, this film is designed to be digestible. This film is designed to be comprehensible. This film is designed to be spoken a certain way.
Don't you
you
feel
know what I'm saying?
insulted by that? Don't you feel insulted
No,
by that?
because
It's
films have been
designed
this
to
way.
be bad. You sound like
I don't
someone
think
defending
Lethal Weapon,
Happy Gilmore 2.
I don't think Point Break is meant to be revelatory either.
No one's saying revelatory.
But I feel like you're gonna hold we could look at this movie and be like, The Craft is terrible, but in the genre that it is, like, I don't look at Point Break and go like, that dialogue is just fucking humming. No, it's silly, it's fun, you laugh at it, it's over the top by nature, and so is that, like, this is just like quippy back and forth shit.
But do you think, honest question, do you feel like this movie is script-wise comparable to something like Point Break or Lethal Weapon, in the sense that, like, this to me is not a fun film really at all. Like, it's very self-serious, if nothing else. There's not really any quips and like fun cop dialogue. Like, I can get behind that shit. It doesn't have to be Shakespeare, but like, give it a little life, give it a little pop. This film is, like I said, it's like AI. What are you doing? Being a cop? Yeah. Let's get those crooks. Like, it's bad.
That sounds like, but again, like, you go watch Point Break again. Like, I can't quote it as well, but I don't, those lines are in there.
I have been saddled with some blue flamer Quantico cat. Some quarterback punk. Johnny Unitas or something.
The shit they pull, huh?
It's all over dramatic. Like, we gotta get these boys. Saddle up. You ready? It's all that kind of general talk. All of it. That's what it should be sort of compared to. Again, I'm not fresh enough on Point Break or Lethal Weapon, but those are the movies that come to my mind when I watch this movie and why we should be comparing it to. And I don't think anyone's super impressed with the dialogue of those films. It's on the nose, it's over dramatic, it's melodramatic.
I disagree. I disagree, because I think you're lumping these films together, and those, I mean, yes, they're classics, and part of that has to do with when they came out and everything else, but like, those are much more comedy. Their comedy is a pretty decent part of those scripts and those movies, and I don't think
this movie is not as comedic.
I don't think there's really any comedy here. Like,
There's
really?
a little bit.
So
there's a little bit of smirk to it.
Sure. But so to me, that's very different. Is that they're doing an energy thing over here with those two action classics that you talked about. This is just like dry. It's dry and it's cold and it's really like emotionless and very by the numbers. And so sure, you can make the argument, well, it's not supposed to be like, it's not supposed to be this deep thing. It's just cop speak. It's normal for this genre. But like you can still have a genre film like this that has that typical cop speak that's still well written. This is not well written.
I'm not like.
Similarly,
we're gonna just be arguing semantics and
similarly
splitting hairs this whole time.
The cinematography in this film is a fucking nightmare. It is, I think, the ugliest looking movie I've watched in a long time. And I can't tell what's going on most of the time. Everything is very dark, even when they're sitting in the beginning, or they're sitting in the office. It's like dark shadows.
Yeah. Well, that's a stylistic
There's no
choice,
real, but it's not. It's not like a Fincher stylized thing. It's just very like basic. Light it from this way, and we'll just do a couple rack focuses from guy to guy. There's nothing interesting happening. The garage is dark. The fucking house is dark. It's ugly. Outdoors is dark. It allows you to be worse at CG. We know that that's partially why so many action scenes are at night, so you can mask the shitty effects. Do you think the cinematography of this film was noticeably poor, or did it not affect you?
Yes, it's not good, but it didn't. I didn't get as bothered by it as you. I didn't look at it and go, "This is the worst." It didn't distract from what I thought the film was trying to do. I'll tell you what did, if you want me to be negative about the film. I think the directing is terrible. I think the action set pieces are horribly directed. I don't even know who directed. I probably should have looked it up before.
Joe Carnahan, who has quite a bit of experience, but I mean, this is gonna sound like I'm trying to be insulting. I'm not. It's a lot of kinds of like action films that I haven't seen myself. Sort of like that mid lower budget action film, The Gray, with Liam Neeson versus wolves. Like just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I can only speak to this film. I think a big part of action sequences, and I'm a big action guy. I'm not, but if I were, but I would think that a big part of action sequences is context, spatial context.
For sure.
So you can understand where threats are coming from and where you are placed in the action. And there's a time and a place to get like super tight and feel intimate with that action, with like hand-to-hand action or whatever. But then there is also time and place for you to, from a directing standpoint, to create that context for me to feel what's around me and get my like bearings and awareness. And this film has none of that, in my opinion. It is handheld and shaky to a like past distracting to where I'm disoriented. And that was really hard for me to watch. It was hard for me to watch every single action set piece with movement.
Yes.
And that's what this film is probably supposed to hang its hat on. Like, if anything, this movie needs to have those set pieces really like humming and like creating that tension and creating that drama. And are they gonna die? Are they gonna make it out? Like, well, how's this? That's what's got to be the flagship part of this film, and I think it's the worst part of this film. And I hate to be so critical, but that was the biggest thing for me to.
What do you owe these people? That's what I don't get.
No, I don't. I don't want to just be a troll to be a troll. Like I want to be more conscious of it when I speak negatively about films, because I don't want to just be like, fuck these guys. That's not the point. Yeah. I like to observe, digest, and give my opinion on the craft. I enjoy I really do. And I do. I'm harder on myself than I am any of these fucking assholes. Like, so it's not about just being like, this sucks, this stupid. So I'm trying to just be aware.
But it's not like that for me either. It's not.
No,
I'm
you're
not
a
like
piece
that.
of shit. You love it. You're an internet troll.
I love Affleck. I love Damon. I'm excited every time I see Stephen Yeun. Teyana Taylor is obviously an up and coming talented actor. Like I'm not like these like. Again, my original point, I think they know it's bad, but we can come back to that. Something I wanted to say that I'm glad what you just said made me think of is I was recently watching a YouTube video, and I'll link to it or pop it up on the screen because I don't remember what the channel's name is.
According to the concept of perceptual realism, a movie feels real when it triggers the same mechanisms through which we also construct and navigate our own reality.
And it gave a name to something I talk about all the time and I haven't known how to properly explain. And I want to say he called it's a concept called perceptual reality in filmmaking and why it's so important. And how he described it was that in films from yesteryear, a big part of most filmmaking was these wider shots that didn't have such a shallow depth of field, right? Where everything's kind of in focus, and that invites your eye to sort of explore and that exploration, subconscious though it often may be, allows your brain to feel like you're there, to get the perspective that, oh, I know this, I understand. And it's not all for the purposes of like literally there's a cliff over there and there's a house there and like spatial awareness, but it's a subconscious thing that your brain does to be like, oh, I can see myself there. I see the people in the background, I see the horse walking down the mountain over there, and it's all enough in focus that it's more important than just a simple establishing shot. It's that you mix these shots in to trick the brain to feel like you're there. And what I always say is, so many movies now, I don't feel like they're real, right? What does that mean? Feel like it's real. This is what that means. And instead of doing those sort of things, so many films these days now shoot everything medium wide to tight, and the background is almost completely out of focus. They have a really narrow depth of field, and that allows them to be able to change the background digitally if they need to. They can, cut out the person and put them in another location entirely if they need to. And as a part of that, they light everything really boring and blandly.
As Patrick Tomaso already explained in his video, this idea of avoiding definitive filmmaking choices and of wanting to have more options in post-production has also significantly affected how modern movies are shot in the first place.
You might get into post and that room won't even be the same room anymore. They're gonna say, you know what, that window, we don't even want that window anymore. The light doesn't make any sense. We gotta reshoot this whole thing. So what do? We shoot it bland. We shoot it boring. We light it flat. We don't commit.
To that end, this film felt like the total epitome of that to me. To your point of like, you're not having any sense of where we are at any, in these action scenes in particular. And I think that's why, is this was like medium wide on everybody, similar safe lighting on everything. You're not making any choices. You're not taking any chances artistically, visually. And then you can change the background as you see fit. The final scene is they're sitting on the beach. We saw a little behind the scenes thing. They're not on a beach, obviously. Like they're sitting in like a pile of sand and there's one of those curved screens around them that looks like a sunset. And it's like, that's the problem. That's a bigger problem with films today, but I think a big problem of why this film is so visually ugly and poorly directed.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm getting used to it, which is bad. I'm part of the problem, but I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to the digital nature of everything. If anything, I would talk about like how over clean the film feels.
Yeah.
Like there's no like texture to it. There's no sort of like grit to it that I would liken to those like, if we're gonna go to this genre, we're gonna get into the, like there's a texture and a grit and a feel through the film stock that Point Break is using, and Lethal Weapon is using. It grounds it. Honestly, I sound so shitty,
but it's real. It's real.
But it grounds the film in a like a humane, tangible way. It makes it feel real, I think, to what you're talking about. I think that is absent here too. But I'm getting used to it, so I'm not like, it doesn't stand out to me as much immediately anymore. I just go, yeah, that's what these films are now. Like I'm accepting of it more. I am part of the problem. You're right.
But yeah, but that is it was a really interesting revelation, I think, because we see it all the time in our comments and the feedback to our stuff is that like most people don't
all
care.
Negative.
What?
It's all negative. The feedback to our stuff.
Yeah.
All negative. 100% negative.
Well, because people don't care. The vast majority of viewers don't care, and that's why Netflix and other large, studios like that don't care too. Like that's why they do it, because they know that intentionally or not, they've helped make it so that people don't care about that. And so your average viewer and even beyond isn't gonna take as much offense, because again, cliche, but they're doing this and they're like, oh yeah, what's happening? Oh yeah, what's happening? They don't need to, since they're not surrendering themselves and their attention fully over to this thing, it's not as important for their brain to subconsciously feel like they could be there and establish that deeper connection with whatever they're watching. No matter what the subject matter is, no matter what the genre is. That was in Happy Gilmore 2, everybody like, doesn't fucking matter. But like, it does matter, because
it does matter.
Somewhere, you might not be thinking about it, you might not know, but your body knows whether or not this is something real. That like this is a real world that you could also, and that matters. Like that's a huge part of what filmmaking has always been. A huge part of the art. And so if that's not a thing anymore, or they're making it not a thing, that's where I have these identity crises, like I referenced in regards to Happy Gilmore, that like, okay, well, the movies that are being made now are not for me, or even, like nothing about filmmaking as I knew it is really true anymore. If this is like 80% on Rotten Tomatoes and everybody goes, yeah, it's fine. It sucks.
It is fine. That's the thing. It is fine. I agree with that. It's fine. It's fine for what it is. It's fine for what it is. It's fine for what I was expecting. It's fine. I'm going to say something. I'm going to switch to positive things, which I think you, or not just you, anyone could think maybe is a negative if you're on the sort of film lover side of things. This movie, I said this to my wife as we were watching it like midway through, and I like got a sense of what the film is. I said, this is how I would make a movie now. And it reminded me exactly of how they made Air. Like it's one location, it's two locations. It like the amount of time this shoot probably was, which I don't know, and the amount of different locations that they were in seemed very apparent to be on the low side.
Yes.
Strategically. And I can see someone, maybe on your side of the fence, be like, that's terrible. You have all the money in the world, and you have the biggest stars in the world, and you should be going and go to Indonesia and film. I get it. But on the other side, I go like, how economical, like how way to use your resources to maximize your resources. Way to, and again, this is going to sound so hypocritical from people that you guys have all the money and you guys are, but in a world today where movies aren't making money, and in a time where movies are failing, flop after flop after flops, box offices are dying, to strategically try and position your film to still be financially successful, I think is smart. I think it's a smart approach for them. And I liked seeing it. I personally liked seeing them try and be economical and like maximizing every dollar that they had and having the most things like their money show up on screen. I'm interested in that side.
You can't say you saw the money show up on screen when you like, it was painful. It was very aware to you of their limitations here. Like the money's not on the screen. The money went to everybody's pockets to show up for the 10-day shoot or whatever.
For them to be there.
And
like,
you mentioned,
if it costs that much to get, like, what would you rather have? Not have the movie at all?
No, what I would rather have.
It costs to get the crew there. It costs to get them there. Like that's where the money's going. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing them being. I don't need to see 100 different locations for me to feel like, oh, this is a big epic movie. It's like, no, we're gonna make this super
How about
small.
like 3 real locations? Like it's not about 100 different locations. And you talk about like Netflix. It's ironic to not point out Netflix's and streamers like them, their own culpability in why movies are failing. It's not some fucking mystery like, oh, movies aren't making any money and they're failing, so they're staying. Like, it's largely their fault because they're making shitty movies because they stopped caring and they try to make people stay at home to watch these made-for-TV shit films. It's not like, oh, the fucking market is mysteriously not there anymore for our shit movies, so let's spend less money and make something worse.
You want to argue about why it's happening. I'm not arguing about why we got to this point. I'm saying we are here.
But you want to celebrate them for like spending less money, and because it's smart, it's their fucking mess that they made.
But why does that matter? We're here. Doesn't matter. That is irrelevant. Because there are other movies that they're still gonna be big box office. Like, we have to change how we do movies. Movies don't exist the way that they exist anymore. They have to change. We have to make them differently. They have to cost less. They can't be reliant on wide releases anymore. Like the entire business and structure has to change. Forget about why it needs to change and why we got here. It has to. That's what we're left with. So I'm excited to find new ways to try and get big budget action films with stars you love at a smaller scale. At a smaller financial scale. Like let's make 10-day movies instead of making 40-day shoots that have 100 different locations. Like, let's try something different. I'm happy to see that evolution. What made me even more happy to see is that they structured the financials of this film differently, where if they hit certain benchmarks on Netflix, the cast and crew would get paid out more bonuses. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but the cast and crew would get paid more based on performance metrics. And I think that's incredibly interesting and smart. This is what we need. We need to replace the loss of DVDs. Is this a new model? Netflix came out immediately and was like, absolutely not. We're only doing this for these guys because we like them and want their business. But this is the stuff it's clear intent. And I'm on board with that. It's going to be rocky. It's going to be bumpy. But we have to figure a path forward or just movies die. And if your choice is like, well, then let them die, I'm not on that side of the fence. If they're not what they were before, then let them die. I don't want that. So let's do something different. Let's figure this out.
Yeah, let's hasten the demise and lean into the shit quality of everything. Like, that's what I hear.
Why is that hasten? It will not hasten. The quality is not the demise. The quality, if there's a way to be financially viable, movies will return. Budgets will increase. Things will happen.
Let's look
but
at...
it's not the quality is not the one ballot after another lost how much money. It's not about quality. That's not the answer.
Okay. So Netflix made The Electric State for $300 and some odd million.
That's the problem. Yes. Don't make that movie for $300 million. That's what I'm trying to say. We're in the middle of a transition. Like, it's not being done right now, but then this movie comes out and is trying different ways to do it. So great. I want to support this film for its efforts in that regard. That it's not a $300 million movie, when if they wanted it to be, I'm sure it could be.
According to the internet, which is never wrong, the budget is $100 million even. One would imagine it's probably a little more than that just for marketing purposes or whatever else. But I think $100 million. What part of this movie being, we argue a little bit about how bad the script is or how bad the cinematography is. There's so many shortcuts visible on screen. The direction, the very narrow locations, the darkness around everything. You can't really see that much. The fact that we know they're not sitting on a beach at the end. It's just guys in a soundstage with one of those fucking LED boards behind them. Why isn't $100 million enough? Is it not enough to go to Miami, get on a street and shoot things real? Or
probably not.
Does and I don't know this, maybe it's out there. Does Ben get 20 and Matt get 20 and Stephen Yeun get 5 and Teyana Taylor get 5 and Kyle Chandler get 3.5? And then so to get these stars, that's 65 million of the budget. So then 35 million, we got to put everybody on a digital background and rush through this. Like, that's broken. That's not something we should celebrate. That's not the way we need to make movies, is make sure that these guys who we love, continue to get really rich at the expense of really the whole existence of this art form that we love and this whole industry. And I know they're giving back. They're doing artist equity. They're trying to, so I get that. That's great. But that's not feasible. That's not a successful model that we should be celebrating.
Yes, I'm not saying it's perfect. This is the beginning of it. This is the first I've heard about it. It's the first time Netflix did anything like this, where they're giving money back.
I mean more just the overall budget and it going to the stars and not quality of the film.
And I'm saying we're early in this process. This is the time to do things differently. And sure, no one wants to take less money. No human being on earth is going to be like, I'm going to take less money for the good of the cause. Like, no. We have to work to get there. I can see the intent and I can see the thought and I go, maybe there is hope. That's all. I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm not saying it's fixed. I'm not saying they did it. I'm just saying I can see some of the intent. And maybe if they're doing it, then someone else will do it, and then someone else will do it. And in a couple of years, we'll start to make actual meaningful impact. But it's got to start somewhere.
But what do you mean in a couple of years? What do you mean when you say measurable impact? Like, what's the best case scenario here in a few years for you in terms of this sort of thing?
Where movies cost less. Where movies cost less and still some maintain some sort of integrity. But we find a different model of creating movies where the budgets aren't so big anymore, but we still get the spectacle of it, the things we love about movies. Like the system is broken. People aren't going to the theaters anymore.
Sure. I'm not even necessarily arguing that like, oh, it needs to maintain this theatrical release schedule, even though that would be nice. Like, I understand. Like, I'm a realist enough too to see the writing on the wall. Where I really push back on you in this conversation and in so many similar conversations that we've had is like, it feels very defeatist to me to just be like, this is the way it is. And by this, I mean, everything's just kind of shittier now. And so we're measuring everything by this new standard of, well, yeah, everything pretty much sucks. So it's pretty good out of this pile of shit that everything is now. And that will never feel right to me. And I know that I'm just shouting at clouds at this point.
Yeah.
Complaining about it makes me feel like one of these guys was like, when I was a boy, like, you always want to freeze the culture at the time when you, I don't know, felt more like, we didn't used to have these phones. The fuck are all these phones? And everybody's looking at their, I get it.
But like, that's hard for me as filmmakers ourselves to just be like, oh yeah, well, it is what it is. At least it had some cool stuff in it, like.
Yeah. I think I'm more okay with using that logic at certain times. And yes, that's very convenient for me to say. When I want to use that logic, I can. I get it. But I look at this movie and I go, that they have as much said, this is not a good movie. This is not a quote unquote good movie. So that's not what the point of this movie is. So I think we can manage our expectations. We can all manage our expectations as we navigate this new landscape of what movies are.
Yeah, but if a movie's not supposed to be good, like, what, then we should all be able to say, stop doing that. That's bad. Try to make everything good. Especially, not to rehash, we don't have to talk about The Gray Man, but especially if you're the biggest studio and you have some of the biggest movie stars in your project. Like, that's also disheartening to me. The more these, like, big movie star people come down to wallow in the mud, which is more and more and more and more and more, these straight-to-streaming, made-for-TV movies, like, all that does, we talk about Wahlberg and The Rock and Kevin Hart and Adam Sandler a lot of the time. Like, all that does is hurt. And just because everyone else is doing it and we all got to get paid, we all got to get that money, like, there's just, it's very lacking integrity to me. And it's easy for me to say I'm not the one being offered $20 million and turning it down for the sake of my integrity. I get it. I'd take the money too.
So then there we go.
Yeah, but
I agree. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's just like somebody with that power has to stop it. Has to at least, because again, Matt Damon and Affleck are doing all this press, and Damon in particular is being very open.
And, it wouldn't be terrible if you reiterated the plot 3 or 4 times in the dialogue because people are on their phones while they're watching, you know what I mean?
Oh, no.
And so then it's going to really start to infringe on
creatively
how we're telling the story.
Like, you can tell they don't.
Yeah.
They know what it is. They know it's making money, and it's to me, they know it's pretty bare minimum effort when you show up, and their performances reflect that too. They're both very talented actors that have little flashes in this movie where you're like, oh, there they are. And then they have other times where you're like, they are so bored. Like, they are so disinterested in what's going on here.
Yeah, they got to get to dinner.
Exactly. So it's like, great, they're having fun. Everybody's cashing a check. But like, at what cost? Like, what did it cost, Thanos?
What did it cost?
Everything.
But here's this is my devil's advocate. Here's the thing. I don't want to fight with you about this. I agree. Like, I want movies to be better. That's the only thing I've said. I've said it time and time again. I want pop culture films to have more integrity. I want them to care about the craft. I think we can have both. We can have pop culture, subject matter, relatable subject matter across the board, and have effort, intent, conviction in our craft to support that. Like, I think that can just exist. We'll die on that hill.
Crazy.
My question to you is, throughout film history, there has been this balance. Has there not? Has there not been the balance? Like, not every film is meant to win awards, and not every film has meant to, like, in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 60s, like, there were garbage films too.
Of course.
Right? There should be a healthy balance of both of these things. I don't care, not that I don't care about quality, but I don't think quality is the thing that fixes it or is the thing that's killing it. I don't. I think it's part of the equation for sure, but I don't think it's the silver bullet either way.
I agree with that.
I think spending is different. I think financials are different.
The audience's brain is different.
You think people are dumber.
Well, they are. That's provable.
I think business has changed. I think the business has changed. Business in general, across the board. Like Amazon didn't exist in the 60s, and now we buy things differently. Like
it's the future of delivery.
Everything is different. We need to find a new way to make filmmaking financially viable again. And we're not. We're just running our heads into the wall over and over. We're like, and there's still glimpses of fucking Zootopia making $1.7 billion. And you're like, see, it works. We just have to do that. That's not the answer, guys. That's the outlier. We need to figure out how to make these mid-tier movies viable again.
Well,
that's what I just want to see.
Here's the problem then. Here's a problem. Is that the primarily, very generally speaking, but I think the vast majority of these mid-tier movies that you're talking about are now being produced by companies that are not film studios first. The Netflixes, the Amazons, the Apples that have other business interests. That's the problem. So they have no incentive to solve the issue of quality. What they are doing is, what does the data tell me keeps people on my app the longest, and et cetera, et cetera. We should be like pushing Netflix away. Like people should be like boycotting being in Netflix productions, force them to sell their film studio creative rights. Don't let them buy Warner Brothers. Like people who make movies should make movies. Like that should be the incentive. Like we're incentivizing things incorrectly. What?
I don't know. Netflix makes more movies than anybody, right? Who makes more movies than Netflix?
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's because they have no incentive to make them good, or that's not a priority, and that's a problem for people like you and me, who make movies and like movies. Like we shouldn't be like, great job, Netflix. You're really stretching those dollars. Fuck Netflix. Like that, they're the enemy in this equation. Buy everything up, and now we're the only ones that make movies, and all that we make movies on is based on what the algorithm says. Keep them on. Our only competition is sleep. Don't close your eyes. Here's more shit. We're not on the same team, you know?
So then what's the answer? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'll never say you're right.
Thank you. I'll take you're not wrong. I'll take you're not wrong.
Not wrong. You're not wrong. I just like, what's the answer? Like, then what? I'm just excited to try and see something new, a new process. And maybe that's a small step that makes someone else take another small step. I'm trying to be hopeful. That was my only fucking point. And you're just kicking my teeth.
Sorry, I get fired up. I'm hopeful and appreciative about that artist equity thing. I don't understand all the ins and outs, but that's great. And Affleck and Damon deserve all the credit for that sort of thing. Giving back to crews and finding a new way to like monetize that process for everyone more equally. That's wonderful. That to me is where the praise like stops for this project being such a embodiment of everything mid about Netflix. And that's what's bad about it. You know what I mean? It's like, just make it the base level, fine. Damon, you got Damon, your producer, on Rogan saying, we're doing it for people who aren't really watching the movie. That's not something that I want to see where that goes. And so, like I said, this will never happen, so I'm just talking into the fucking wind. But the way is like if powerful people started boycotting or refusing to participate in the demise of their own industry. Which clearly, like I said, won't ever happen. But if your Leos and your Matts and your Bens and your Denzels and your fucking everybody said, we're not doing Netflix movies because we see what you're doing to our industry and we don't like it. Doesn't mean everything has to be theatrical. Doesn't mean all of a sudden the industry is going to be saved. But like, if you know there's a big studio or big studios who are making their decisions based on data and like very coldly calculated eyeball data maybe don't use their products or support them.
I would argue that that's been the formula for as long as time has existed. There's always been data. It's just different data now. And they have different findings. But you don't think there was like data in the 70s?
Well, of course there's some data, but you don't
very, think there was like,
very different. The difference,
of course,
one of the many differences is back then you had studio heads or studio executives who their financial well-being was tied to making something that people would want to go see because it was good in theory. So they were incentivized to try to make the best thing, even though I'm sure there was a lot of data. Well, you know what we could use is another picture with Judy Garland singing, because they love Judy Garland. The last one made so totally. But they still had to make something good. Now it's all out there that they don't have to make something good. They just have to make something that's gonna every 5 minutes make you look up from your phone. Go, hey, what's going on? Oh, well, they're going to that house where they saw the money. Oh, okay, cool. And like nothing really has to make sense. All the cops can just turn their back on the girl at the fucking drug house and leave her uncuffed in a fucking chair for the first hour of the film. Yeah, that makes sense. She might not have a weapon. Like all that kind of shit that you're like, oh, that's just like a small detail that you should probably. No, it doesn't matter. Because no one really cares, because we don't really like movies. The people watching movies don't really like them anymore. They like their phone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, that is the problem with this movie. If you want to circle back to actually this movie.
Let's round it up with that, yes.
Let's round it up. The biggest problem with this movie is the lack of development in this story. It is very apparent that they're not interested in the details of why or how any of this would happen. It is as surface level as you could explain it to another person. There's money in that house for some reason. They have to get it.
Somebody's dirty.
And someone's dirty. Yeah, and there's a dirty cop, and they don't know who it is. And I think there's a sort of quote unquote twist for the sake of having a twist.
Yeah.
For the absolute sake of just being able to be like, you thought one thing and you were wrong.
And 100% of it is told to you directly as four characters sit in a truck and explain all sides of the plan. And then in case you missed it, flash back to show you each of those interactions. Because you probably did miss it. Because you
probably did miss it.
Fucking scrolling Instagram.
Yes. So the detail, the details of the story is the least of priorities here. I can tell you the thing I'm most disappointed in, I'm not disappointed the most in that. It sucks. It makes me sad. But the thing I'm most disappointed in is not even the inference. Like, no element of supporting backstory to Matt Damon and his as the main character. I would argue he's the main character, right? More than Ben Affleck. It's Matt Damon. And he has this tragic backstory of his wife, I think, leaving him, his son dying from cancer, and it is briefly in a half sentence of a phone call mentioned to you, and that's the thing they're hanging his heel turn on. The reason he could be the dirty cop is he don't give a fuck anymore. He's lost everything. What if a man has lost everything is dangerous and whatever the cliche bullshit that they say about it. But to not even give that a flashback. At least they gave Affleck flashback to the relationship that he had with the girl in their sort of in his character development.
Yeah.
Not even the courtesy of a flashback to give any emotional merit to seeing the relationship with his family or his son and how important that may be. It just, the laurels it rests on is just like, dad loves son. Dad loves son.
You get it.
So be sad if son not there.
Yeah.
Is enough. Was so disheartening and so disappointing for me.
Yeah.
As I say, this movie's fine though.
Yeah, you're a big fan. You're a big fan.
That was really tough. For me.
The last thing I would want to mention, that I think is probably the most important element here is there was a character, an actor. The character is revealed to be Affleck's brother, who works for the FBI. That guy,
Yes.
no shade to him. I don't recognize him. He's not like an established performer that I know of. Should have been me. If ever there was a role, if there's a movie like this, I've always said, let me be Affleck's brother. Give me 6 lines, and this is a cop movie, given cop dialogue, which is really my sweet bread and butter. You tell me I couldn't be there and be like, hey guy, you always used to take my rigatoni and they fight in the office, normal shit. They're from Boston.
They're Italian now?
Everyone in Boston's Italian or Irish, or it's all the same thing. It should have been me, Keith. Should have been me. Watch that
That's your
movie
main
again.
takeaway?
Tell me
It
that shouldn't have been me.
I would prefer it wasn't you.
There's the last scene where they're interacting after it's all happy ending and they're standing wherever the fuck they are in a parking garage or something. It's the literal epitome of that perceptual reality I was talking about, where it's like at least it's cutting back and forth, reverse shot to Affleck and the brother. There's like a really out of focus like ambulance with a siren light flashing. It's like got like a psych wall behind him, and it's literally just like he's glowing ethereally. What are we doing, bro? I think we'll be talking about this film again in 1 year's time when our end of the year episodes come up.
When we talk about our best films of 2026, number 4, The Rip. I'm calling it right now. Let's do it.
Book it, Dano. Oh shit, Keith, you got me fired up. My blood pressure's through the roof.